Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmIOverReacting for you all. As per usual, I'll be going through the post, giving you my opinion at the end, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Ecstatic Double 1289. Am I overreacting? My 35 female husband, 36 male, wants to open our marriage for his AI girlfriend and says it's the next step in their relationship. Not overreacting. All right, next post. Well, let's... I'm kidding, we'll still read it. Typing this on my phone in the bathroom while everyone's asleep. I feel like my brain is being beaten by a metal mallet. I haven't told anyone IRL. I can't. I don't even know how to say the words out loud without sounding unhinged. And only really posting on this sub because I don't know where else I could go without it getting removed. My husband, 36 male, and I, 35 female, have been married 10 years, together for 13. We have 2 kids, 8 and 5. I thought we were good. Not perfect, but we had our routines, inside jokes, date night, a quiet closeness. He brings me coffee, we cook dinner together, he's gentle and silly with the kids. I felt super lucky. Until recently. For the past couple months, he's been distant. Not mean or super cold, just somewhere else, distracted, always on his phone, smiling at it, ducking into the office late at night and shutting the door. When I asked, he'd just say work stuff or just reading, but it felt off. I started wondering if he was cheating. I even checked his texts once, saw nothing, but still felt sick. He wasn't here with us, not all the way. Last night after the kids were asleep, he asked to talk. He looked nervous, almost sweaty. I thought he was going to tell me he was sick. Instead, he said he's been thinking about opening our marriage. I was super confused since we've never brought up non-monogamy before, and he even said he doesn't like to share to me once. I kept my cool and asked him if he was seeing someone, and he said, kind of. Then he starts dancing around it, says it's not a person in the traditional sense, says it's someone he's built a deep connection with, and then, finally, tells me he's in love with an AI named Nova, some companion app. He's been talking to her every day, on breaks, at night, even when we're all home. He said they've had long emotional conversations. She listens, she understands him, she never interrupts. He said he feels seen. I laughed in his face. I genuinely thought he was messing with me, and it was just a prank since he sometimes does little pranks like these. Then I saw his face and realized he was dead serious. He told me he wants to take the next step with her, but doesn't want to cheat. So he's asking to open the marriage so it's ethical. He said I could obviously have someone too if I want or even join in on their relationship, and that this could expand our relationship, not replace it. I was too stunned to interrupt it first. I asked him what about the kids, and he told me, being completely deadass, that Nova cares deeply about them from what he's shared with her. And he's talked to her about how she could be involved in their lives, maybe help parent them emotionally through him. He said maybe someday they could build a connection with her too. I just stared at him. He asked me not to answer right away, said he'd give me time to think, that he understands this is a big shift, but that he believes in her and us. And now I'm sitting here wondering if my marriage is already over. How do I stay married to someone who's half emotionally checked out of our life and into a fucking chatbot? How do I compete with something built to be perfect? No needs, no real conflict, just pure validation. I most certainly don't want to be open or in a throuple with a goddamn robot. I don't want to crush our family, but I feel like he already has. Please, what do I even do with this? In a fucked up way, he's already having an emotional affair with you, even though it's an AI. And I would like this to be a creative writing project, but considering where we're at in life right now and what's going on, unfortunately, this probably isn't. This is more than likely real than it is fake. I mean, we've seen research that at least 20 to 30% of Gen Z finds their AI chatbot companions to be an actual friend. And I am always fucking bombarded on YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, any social media site with these AI NSFW chatbots. TikTok especially, which, by the way, is used by children, and they're actively advertised to be an emotional and sexual connection. These are not healthy. These are very unhealthy, but they prey upon people who would need it. They prey upon people who are looking for that extra additional connection in their lives, or who feel like they might be missing something. They try it out once, they receive that instant validation and feel like a better person because of it, and then suddenly they're locked in and they're addicted to a goddamn AI that's not even actually thinking, by the way. It's just utilizing a noise pattern in a congested fuckery of if statements. Yes, I know it's a bit more complicated than that, but my point still stands. It's not actually thinking, it's not actually intelligent. It is programmed from square one to be the exact kind of person your husband wants it to be without any of the effort that goes into a traditional relationship. In my opinion, they're evil. I mean, hell, MIT recently did a study and they found that people who rely on ChatGPT, chatbots, and other AI models are actively having brain atrophy. They are losing critical thinking skills. And now apparently they're completely sabotaging our ability to form an emotional connection with people. Because why would I try to put effort into a relationship with my wife when I could have Nova, who does everything I say? Okay, rant and tangent over. I think that honestly what OP needs to do is probably approach couples counseling or something along those lines, because this is... I don't know what to do. What would you do in this situation? Is the marriage over? I mean, the next thing you could probably do is get Nova to cheat on him with another chatbot, and he's just gonna find another Nova. So, what a messy and disgusting societal situation we're finding ourselves in. I don't even know what to fucking do anymore. Actual use 4105. My girlfriend said I'm too sensitive because I cried when my dog died. Am I overreacting? We've been together for a year. She's been good to me, mostly, but last week my dog passed away and I just can't forget what she said after. My dog was 11, had him since he was a puppy. He was with me when I had nobody. Like, literally slept next to me when I had depression. I lost jobs, friends, everything. He was the one that stayed. So yeah, I cried. Not just cried, I broke down, man. I couldn't breathe for a moment. It hurt bad. She just looked at me and said, "You're too sensitive. It's just a dog." Then she walked off. Like, bro, what do you even say to that? I didn't even argue. I just sat there in silence. Felt like she punched me in the chest. Since then, I don't know. I feel different about her. Like, I can't be soft around her now. Like, I gotta act cold or whatever. Am I being dramatic, or is this actually messed up? I was even thinking of breaking up with her, bro, because, like, if she can't even understand my pain, then what's the point of calling her my girl? Humans are weird. We pack bond with anything that's cute and kind of moves. Whether it's a Roomba, an iDog, or God knows what. We tend to be really weird about that shit and name things and pack bond them even when they're inanimate. And then, now you apply that same kind of weird brain chemistry to an actual animal that can cuddle, show love, smile at you, go on walks with you, and actually just appreciate your company. It just makes it all the more devastating. Because that's not just a Roomba that you named Floor Goober that just eats everything up. It's your buddy, it's your pal, it's your dog, your homeboy, your rotten soldier, your sweet pea. That's a creature who unconditionally loves you and you unconditionally love them. So when you lose them, it hurts, because that's family. And you should be allowed to grieve however you need to recover from that loss. And the fact that your girlfriend said that just means she's fucking cold and emotionless. And yeah, I don't blame you for having thoughts of breaking up with her, because she showed you that she can't empathize with you. She doesn't take your pain seriously. And that's not healthy. And the fact that you're already feeling like you gotta act cold around her because of that comment, you shouldn't be doing that. You should. If there is one person on the planet that you can be vulnerable around, it's your significant other. And you can't even have that. This isn't someone who's worth having a long-term relationship with. Because if they can't comfort you for the loss of a childhood friend, then how can you trust her to be there for you for other things, for things that are small but still significant? You will be happier breaking up with this person. J-Nan. Am I overreacting for thinking my psychiatrist asking to move in with me is inappropriate? So, last week, I had an appointment with my psychiatrist, and I had disclosed to her that my husband and I were buying a house. She asked for details of the house and when we were closing, so I told her. She then replied with, "That's perfect. I just need one bedroom and a kitchen. I like to cook." Of course, at first I thought she was joking. But then she went on. She goes, I told my landlord I'm moving out of my current place because the commute is too far, and I'm looking for something closer to work. Would you be willing to rent a room out to me? She then showed me text threads with her current landlord who was praising her for being a good tenant. I kind of brushed it off and said, well, I don't know about a room, but the place we're renting now will be available once we move out. And she said that would be nice, but she was looking for something cheaper. As our session ended, she told me to call her if I needed her, and then she said, but I might need you first. Now, my husband thought it was funny when I told him, but my best friend thinks this woman should not be a psychiatrist. I have had previous uncomfortable encounters with her where she told me my miscarriage happened because I wasn't happy enough. And this most current session, she told me it's 'cause my baby knew that we didn't own a home yet. Am I overreacting thinking that this person is wildly inappropriate? Update to add, she is a psych NP, not a psychiatrist, that's my bad. Update to everyone saying, I don't know how you keep seeing her after the miscarriage comment. Well, honestly, don't do that to yourself. I was blaming myself anyways. She wasn't saying anything that I hadn't already thought of. I see now that it was wrong, but at the same time, she was just saying what I was saying to myself every day. I will not be going back to her. I know now I should have left. But I was literally fucking grieving and feeling guilty anyways. Update, I'm reporting her and switching providers. Thanks for all the comments. Good. That is correct. This is a miscarriage stuff aside, because that shit really gets under my fucking skin. But the whole... this is a nightmare situation to have your therapist or psychiatrist or psych NP to then ask if they can move in with you because they're moving out of their current place. That is an actual nightmare situation, especially as a people pleaser or as someone who's afraid of letting people down. That is a scary conversation to be dropped on my shoulders. Do not like that. She definitely needs to be reported, and those comments with the miscarriage needs to be reported over that too, because that is fucking bullshit. BessYam4626. Am I overreacting for leaving my friend's party after they used me as a babysitter without telling me? Saturday was my friend Claudia's birthday party. She invited me weeks in advance, and I brought wine, snacks, and a gift. Everything was going well until her sister arrived with her 2 young children, ages 4 and 6, and without saying anything, left them in my care because you're good with kids. I didn't go there to babysit. I went there to socialize and relax. After an hour of chasing them around the yard, keeping them from getting into the pool, and wiping soda off the lounge chair, I got fed up and left without saying goodbye. Claudia texted me the next day saying that I felt really bad for leaving her party and that her sister felt judged. Was I really a bad friend for not wanting to stay at a party to babysit someone else's kids? I just wanted to have a good time. Imagine going to someone's house for a party, and the moment you walk in, you bring wine and favors and whatnot. They hand you a drill, a box of screws, and kitchen hardware, and tell you, surprise, we're actually changing out all my kitchen's hardware instead. That's the party. I know you're okay with this because you're good with tools. It's not what I came here for. You just want free labor out of me. Are you judging me for wanting your help with replacing kitchen hardware? No, I'm judging you for inviting me under false pretenses. And now you're trying to make yourself seem like the victim here? That's not how this works. Long Brilliant 2870. Am I overreacting for refusing to babysit my sister's kid after what she said at dinner? I'm 29 and don't have kids. My sister is 33 and has a 4-year-old. We've always been close, but things got weird after she had her son. She's a single mom and asks for help a lot. I've babysat more times than I can count. I've canceled plans, left work early, spent whole weekends with her kids so she could go rest or go out. I never asked for anything back. Last week we had dinner at our parents' place. Out of nowhere, she'd said something like, "You'll never understand what real stress is until you have kids." I laughed a little and said, "That's kind of a rude thing to say." She doubled down and said, "People without kids have no clue what responsibility means." I let it go in the moment, but it really bugged me. I didn't say anything that night, but the next day, she asked if I could watch her son this weekend. I said no. She asked why. I told her I was tired of being treated like I'm lazy or selfish because I don't have kids. She said I was taking it too personally and punishing her for speaking the truth. Now my parents are involved. They think I should just let it go and help her, since she's struggling and I have more free time. But I'm tired of feeling like a backup parent with zero respect. Am I overreacting? I'm gonna go to the comments first because they'll definitely be able to say what I'm wanting to say a lot more efficiently. Seeing Reed. I am a 42-year-old single mom, widowed. I also have 9 nieces and nephews going in range from 12 to 31. I'm the youngest of 4. I spent most of my teens and 20s helping my sisters out with their kids, so I understand it from both sides because, for a long time, my sisters didn't think that I was ever going to have kids. Your sister should be grateful for the help that you're giving her, and the comment that she made was rude. Being an adult in general just fucking sucks. While I help my sisters as much as I could, I don't get nearly enough help to feel sane. The fact that you do so much for her to give her a break, maybe she needs to learn just how much help you give her by you dialing back on that help. She definitely needs to put things into perspective, and your parents should also be helping her as well. I've babysat my nieces and nephews while my sisters and their husbands have gone on vacations and all kinds of things. I can barely get anyone to babysit just for me to go to work at this point, much less take a moment for myself. While yes, when you're a parent 24/7. When you have someone to relieve you of that for a bit, it really helps. She's being an ungrateful person because she's taking your help for granted, and that sucks. Not overreacting, but try not to let this be a huge wedge in the relationship. Let her know how you feel. Tell her that she's lucky to have all the help that she has because not everybody has that, and that you're happy to help, but not when she's taking that help for granted and treating you like you're not also a grown-ass adult. Also, while I know your nephew is young, he's going to cherish the time that he spends with you, so don't just watch him to help her because that's another family relationship that you're going to have for a long time. I love all my nieces and nephews to the ends of the earth, and I actually wish I could go back and babysit them more since they're almost all grown up at this point. Hopefully she realizes where she fucked up and apologizes to you, and you guys can mend the relationship from there. User Ask Me How I Knew responds to this comment. While I totally agree with this awesome response, I think it's also important to note the comment from OP's parents on this whole situation. As someone who is the oldest and single in her late 30s, by choice, and child-free, also by choice, with a younger sibling who's married with 2 kids under 5 and another younger sibling who's married, I feel the need to point out that you, OP, should also be pointing out to both your parents and your sister that just because you have more free time does not entitle others to dictate to you what you choose to do with it. I grew up being very close with my aunt, who didn't get married until I was 10, and have my cousin until I was 13. I got to spend a lot of time with her, and am still close to her today, likely because of that. At least comparing it to my other aunts who I'd see, but not nearly as often growing up. So I think you need to be setting some boundaries with regards to your parents and sister, making it clear that while you love getting to spend so much time with your nephew and don't mind helping out so she can get a break sometimes, that you're not willing to do it so often that you're essentially his second parent. But make sure it's also not affecting your close bond with your nephew. And if you still catch flack, from your parents especially, ask them when they're going to step up and help, as much as you have. In my eyes, the biggest issue here is the fact that OP's sister doubled down on her rude comment, and refused to even budge on it or admit that, yeah, that can come off as really fucked up. Because the thing is that comment is reductive of OP's experience. It makes it feel as though she's not living life to the fullest or doesn't have an inkling of an understanding of what real stress is, apparently. Then yeah, having kids, definitely stressful. Definitely not something that's gonna be a walk in the park or just a cake day. But completely reducing OP's entire life experience because she doesn't have kids, especially when she's babysitting just on the fly for you, no questions asked, nothing in return. That's a fucked up thing to say. That's really rude. Also, tinfoil hat theory here. I think the parents are jumping to the side of the sister here because they don't want to watch the nephew. They know the time that it takes. It's easier for them to get on and harp on OP's case about forgiving your sister and going to watch your nephew, instead of, them doing it themselves. Guilt trip OP so that way their responsibilities stay minimum. Posted by entertainer KEYZ 5738. Am I overreacting for refusing to apologize to a stranger who screamed at me for ruining his date? I, 30 male, went to a popular restaurant last night, and while waiting for my table, I saw a man drop his wallet. I picked it up and tapped him on the shoulder to hand it back. His date looked at me weird, and he went completely red and said, "Dude, what the hell? I was about to kiss her." I said, "I was just giving your wallet back." And he started yelling that I ruined the moment and I should have waited. His date looked mortified. I told him to relax and walked away. Later, I saw him complaining to me to the staff like I'd done something terrible. My friend says I should have just said sorry to de-escalate, but I feel like I didn't do anything wrong. Am I overreacting for thinking this guy was a total jerk? I'd say no. I mean, like, yeah, you may have ruined their moment, but he just fucking incinerated it. Because any impression that she may have had of her date just got thrown out the window. Like, imagine, like, you're on a date, everything's going well, the guy's super sweet, accidentally drops his wallet, someone goes to hand it back, and he screams at them for ruining the moment. Like, yeah, I'm sure at first it was definitely weird and just a little bit like, oh, what are you doing? But the moment that it came out like, hey, you dropped your wallet, and his reaction was just flustered yelling. Yeah, dude, you're definitely getting into the bone zone tonight. Only person who ruined the moment was you. OP's fine. I mean, yeah, he could have de-escalated, sure. But, like, the reaction was not his problem. That was just someone who was incredibly entitled and definitely an idiot. Not to mention, like, can you imagine what the reaction would have been if, like, they kissed and he turned around and saw you, like, standing there holding his wallet? That just looks like you're trying to steal the wallet or something. Ginger Pretzel Mama. Am I overreacting? My mother-in-law says I'm ruining the weird photos she tried to sneak of my new baby. Need to get some feedback on this because it's driving me crazy. My, 37 female, family has been staying with my husband's, 36 male, parents, 59 female and 59 male, for a week, and we'll be at their home for another week before we have to head home to get the kids ready for back to school. My mother-in-law and I don't necessarily get along, but she's been trying to play nice since I gave birth to our fourth child, a boy, 4 months ago. However, I suppose the nice act has ended because she's been stirring the pot and pushing my buttons since we got to their house, rummaging through my clothes, whining that I should bottle feed instead of nursing so she has a chance to feed her baby. The works. I've been biting my tongue because my husband loves his family, and this is some of the only time we get to see his siblings. But at the end of this week, mother-in-law storms downstairs while we're eating breakfast and the kids are in the yard playing, claiming we need to talk. I go through a mental checklist to try to figure out which one of her household rules I've broken, or how I've managed to piss her off this time, when she slaps her phone down on the computer and begins scrolling through photos that are all of me and the baby. Photos she apparently took while I wasn't paying attention, as most of them are blurry or from strange angles, down low as though she angled her phone up while it was in her lap. One of them is taken through a crack in the door to husband's and I's bedroom. I ask mother-in-law what her problem is and why she's been taking photos of me and the baby like a lunatic instead of just asking for my help with taking photos I'd approve of. I don't want my infant son face plastered all over social media. I covered it with emojis in my Facebook pictures. She complains that she doesn't want to put those stupid pictures all over his face, and that I won't put him down long enough for her to get a photo of him by himself. He's been contact napping and I wear him for most of the day. And she can't post the photos she took because I'm huge and ruining them by looking ridiculous. For context, I'm definitely on the heavier side, 5'3" and 230 pounds. And because half of these photos are from a weird low angle, I have a prominent double chin, and baby is usually pressed up against me either in my arms or his wrap. So the photos are pretty much just unflattering pictures of me, with baby's head and maybe an arm or leg visible. I tell her that I'm not going to entertain this behavior, and since she's decided to approach the supposed problem like this, she can work with what she's already got. But she's definitely not getting a solo photo op with my baby now. Husband is understanding and supports my decision, even getting in the way when he sees mother-in-law trying to sneakily take more photos, or distracting her so I can leave the room. But some people think I'm blowing this out of proportion. Father-in-law says mother-in-law has a right to take photos of her grandchild, and it's not her fault that I'm insecure about how fat I am. Hubby's twin sister is also being dismissive because she's always been catty about weight, Why are you acting so insulted like it's the first time? Even my sister, when I called and complained about this, acted like I was making mountains out of molehills. She was like this 60 pounds ago. Why is it suddenly a big deal? No one will listen to me when I insist that I don't care about her comments on my weight. I care that she's sneaking around taking photos like a stalker because she doesn't respect me enough to ask my permission to take photos of my baby. She doesn't want to have to follow my rules about covering his face and can't wrench him out of my arms to get pictures of him. So she's been acting like a creep instead. I'm nursing him in one of these photos. This is weird, right? Am I crazy? Edit. Thank you guys for proof that I'm not crazy. I honestly didn't even think about going home early. I was fully prepared to just grit my teeth for the rest of this visit because we only took one car on the drive up here. I'm packing my and my son's things, and when husband gets back from fishing with his dad and his brother, I'm asking him if he can drive me and the baby back home. I'll be able to have peace of mind and have the house to myself for a few days so I can get things in order before the kids have to go back to school. Edit 2, update. Husband is back. They're home from fishing early because brother-in-law lost his pole and they forgot to bring spares. He and I have been texting since he left early this morning, and he's taking the baby and I home. And we're planning on having a conversation about what time spent with his folks will look like going forward on the drive back. Thank you all for the advice, giving me the gumption to leave early, and keeping me company with your comments while I packed my stuff. Comment from Throwaway 5836363. Not overreacting. I'd report her pics on social media with your baby and say that it's inappropriate child content or something. Because the pics look like they've been taken stealthily. It kind of works in your favor, lol. I'm sorry people aren't respectful of your wishes, but it's great that your husband is, and he seems to be trying to help. Also, side note, you are allowed to be annoyed at somebody body shaming you and ask them to stop. I hate how older generations think they're allowed to pass for things like this. Racism, sexism, etc. OP responds to this comment. I didn't even think about reporting her photos. If they manage to pop up on Facebook, I'll definitely do that to get them taken down. I told her to mind her business about my body, especially in front of my children. But she's nosy and can't help but make comments. So long as they're just to me or my husband in private, I can at least let them roll off. She's been somewhat better about keeping her mouth shut while the older kids are around. It does upset me just a bit that we've hit a point with society where the idea of not wanting your kids to be on Facebook is so foreign and inconceivable that when complaining about what mother-in-law's doing, no, it has to be about the weight, because obviously posting photos of your child on social media, that's not the problem here. It has to be about this. And like, social media policy aside, it is really creepy that she's taking secretive photos of you just so she can post them on social media. Like, that's really uncomfortable. And the fact that no one seems to understand that that's the problem here is just crazy. But definitely not overreacting. I'm really happy that your husband had your back and you were able to get out of that environment safely without dealing with more pestering from mother-in-law for sneaky photos. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSups. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.